Hey guys, it's Drac, and this is an exciting new thing from the X-Shot line. So this is the Hurricane, and this is the Max Attack, and we're going to be focusing, we'll do each one in a separate video. So we're going to unbox and review the Hurricane first. It's cool that there's a window in this blaster, claiming ranges of up to 55 feet for both of them. That means the Hurricane has ranges of 55 feet, but what makes these cool is that they have a clip system or a magazine system. They're calling it a dart clip. It is technically a magazine. I say Clipazine to bother you if it bothers you, so I hope it does, but that's what this is. This is a direct kind of comparison, or the obvious direct comparison would be to the Nerf Retaliator. If it's getting similar performance, it's doing so at a fraction of the cost. The Deco on the blaster looks good. Let's get it out of the package. Alrighty, so here we have our Zuru clip, which is loaded up with 10 Zuru Excel darts. They're calling it a mag system here and a clip system on the box. What that means, I have no idea. I will mention that the clip feels noticeably cheaper than a Nerf or Hasbro brand clip, and it kind of feeds weird. So like, it's doing a better job now, but when I was loading it, it was noticeable that the spring is significantly weaker for this kind of follower, I guess is what you would call it, and because of that, it's suffering in terms of like how reliably it's going to move up. Now there is a fake safety here on the blaster, but there's a real safety down here. I don't know how that's going to work. It looks like you push in here, and perhaps, well, this safety doesn't appear to do anything on my model. Maybe it's the other side. There we go. If we push all the way through, what happens? Click. Still nothing. What if we push this one all the way through? Okay, we just clicked that, and still nothing. Luckily, you don't really need a safety on a blaster like this, but it's weird that that feature on my model just isn't doing anything. It's certainly functional. The Deco on this blaster looks great. The semi-clear kind of purpley blue here is disguising a pretty large, reasonably sized plunger tube. You can see the trigger mechanism coming up through the back. The slide here is hot. I like that it exposes this. I like that there is, in fact, a jam door hidden underneath, definitely taking a lot of inspiration from the Retaliator in its design between the dart tooth and everything else. The dart tooth is on a gear system, and it's cool that you can see all of that because the blaster is partially clear. I do like that a lot. The grip is actually quite comfy, and keeps the clear kind of going through. There's a lot of symmetry going on in this blaster, and it looks really good. The grip is reasonably comfortable, reminds me a lot of an old school Maverick handle without the ridges down at the bottom. That said, none of this matters unless it fires well. I do like this clear window. I think that it's neat that with the clear window, you can see your clear clip and get exactly in there. So there we go. They're calling this a safety button. It is in fact the magazine release, and I'm an idiot for not noticing that. Why they call it a safety button on the package is beyond me, but it is an ambidextrous Clipazine release button. So there you go. Anyway, that works well now that we know what it's actually for. Gosh. The bolt inside has some like ribbing at the front. That's kind of wild, and the bolt sled itself appears to be made of some sort of polyplastic or anyway, there we go, and we're home and chambered, and let's fire. Performance out of this is nowhere near as good as it was in the revolver, and that didn't fire hardly at all. So, and yet there's a great shot. Maybe it just took some breaking in. So let's do a couple of range shots. We, after all, have plenty of clips loaded. Not 55 feet. Not 55 feet. Angled shot. Still not 55 feet. That was. So I guess if you angle it directly and are super duper tall, you can get your 55-foot performance. It's not a bad blaster. It's just inconsistent so far. Speak of the devil. So There's really no excuse for that in a final production run model of anything, although that was a great shot. I can't in good faith. Okay, so let's drop that. Good gravity drop on that magazine, and then we'll load up the next one. See, so the inconsistency here in performance is making it obscenely... Ugh! That's so frustrating, guys. And there we go again. So it might be an issue with the dart tooth. It's actually very difficult to say. Like right now, the dart tooth is being actuated entirely by the trigger. That could have something to do with it on Nerf blasters. Sliding the bolt forward, make sure that the dart tooth is completely out of the way. So maybe it's an issue with how I'm pulling the trigger. Hard to say, but we did knock down all of our cans, and I did bring out an actual Hasbro magazine with some In-Strike Elite darts in it to test cross compatibility, and it looks like there isn't any. Just a hair too wide on these guys. Hopefully the darts are cross compatible at least. Let's take a couple of these, load them up, and these darts are in fact too long, so the darts are not Elite compatible. That is very, very upsetting. So so we were talking about with the weak receiver springs earlier, by the way. I can't in good faith recommend this blaster if you are a serious nerfer. It seems like a fine blaster for the price point if you're willing to adopt this X-Shot magazine system and ammunition style, but while it's even kind of herky-jerky and kind of inconsistent with its own platform, the fact that it's non-compatible with our standard In-Strike box magazines makes it a pretty huge like no-go for me. That said, it looks good, it performs reasonably well when it wants to, and it's not too terribly expensive. So that's my review of the X-Shot Hurricane, and thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed.